Well, I'm back on a lawnmower theme today. I've just finished cutting the grass, but I've noticed, excuse me, there's obviously been a leak when this has been put away in the shed, and it's taken off the paint. So there must be a leak somewhere. It's a pretty reliable machine. Oh, I just saw a drip there. So yeah, that's yeah, there was just a drip there. So something's leaking on that fuel pipe, I suspect. So looks like I need to take the air filter off. That's needing a good clean out, and a couple of might be 10mm nuts. So that's what's happening. I've got a leak in the fuel pipe. So we'll need to see how to get to that and how to fix it. I think I've got some fuel hose from a previous order from Temu, or Timu, however you pronounce it. I found my bag of Timu goodies. Got my tools, got a socket set, and it is indeed a 10mm. There you go, it's a 10. So there's two 10s there. I've never taken this to bits on this particular machine before, so I've no idea what I'm going to find. But while I take it off, I might as well give the carb a quick clean out and all the rest. Okay, so I've just removed that, taken the two 10mm nuts off. That exposes these threads. The carb obviously slides off on that as well. I'm not going to take the carb off yet because I need to unclip this fuel line, or this fuel hose. That's that unhooked. So it's presumably leaking where the clip is. I don't know if you can see that I'm looking at the thing at the same time. So I'm going to undo the fuel hose here. Should really be using pliers for this, but doing it one-handed while filming obviously makes it a much more challenging task. Well, I'm going to get that off with a pair of pliers, I think. I've not got my mole grips handy because I could just clamp this hose. So anyway, I'm going to see about getting this fuel line off. I've just dropped the bushing. So one of the bushings is still in there, and the other bushing is somewhere on the other side of the rainbow. So anyway, I'll get this blocked off and see where we go. Right, so I just basically pinched this rubber hose with my fingers to stop the fuel escaping, and I've just put a, whatever that is, 6mm or something, threaded screw in there just to stop the flow of the fuel. I think it's leaking somewhere about there. You see how it's wet? So the fuel line must have got worn or split. Don't know if that's... Yeah, there's a split. You see the split in the hose there? That's the problem. I could probably fix that just putting a bit of tape on it, but I'm not going to do that because I think in my bag of bits from Timu I've got some fuel hose. Now whether or not that's the exact size I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going to use. So I'll remove this hose from the bottom of the tank. I'll need to find something to block the tank. Hopefully, maybe I can use the screw from here. But what I'll actually do is I'll tip it upside down on its side, so there's less possibility. A lot easier doing these things with two hands, obviously, and that's what I would recommend you do. So I'll soon find out if that's if the fuel tank's below that line when I take this clip off, but I'm going to do that with my two hands and a pair of needle nose pliers. And there's that little bushing that popped out. that goes in that hole there. So, next step, take this little spring clip thing off and undo the pipe. Retain this clip. Okay. Well, the fuel level is obviously below this outlet point, so that's handy. Don't need to put anything in there, but I have noticed there is a fuel filter. Can we see that? There you go. There's a fuel filter built into this bit of the hose. So let's see. Alright, that can get pushed out. That's not so bad. Right, so that gives me an idea of how much that needs to be flared out to accept it. Right, so the black stuff, it doesn't look like it's quite the same bore, but we'll soon find out. Well, the bore looks very, very similar. Obviously it's not quite the same width, but presumably that'll be enough to let the fuel flow. So I'll just measure it out and I'll cut a piece off there, the same length. Best laid plans of mice and men. So it turned out that this bit of pipe that I was thinking about joining on was absolutely goosed. It was perished even further up, so I've heated this up, this bit of pipe, with a cup of hot water, boiling water. So I've put that on. The filter's back inside. I've put this hose clip on. I'm not sure how much use that hose clip's going to be. And then of course I need to put the pipe clip that holds it into that bracket there. So that'll get taken off here, and then it'll get slipped on there. It's not quite the same thickness, so it'll just kind of keep it in place more than anything. And then it's a case of threading it through. I'm not left-handed, so I'm looking a bit more ham-fisted than usual here. Let me move the camera to the other hand. There we go. So that pipe clip is gonna this will be a 2-second job when you're using both hands. So anyway, I'm going to put that in with 2 hands. Right, so I've put the clip back on for the pipe there. I'm sure it's extremely tight on that outlet for the tank anyway, so I probably don't need the clip, but the fuel filter's inside this new bit of hose. I've got the clip that pops in here, and then that will go to the inlet for the carb. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the carb off and just take the float ball off and make sure it's nice and clean, and maybe give it a quick blast through with some cleaner. That's the carb removed. There's one connection goes on there, and then the spring clip goes on at the bottom. So just going to take this nut out, check the condition of the insides, and give it a blast, give it a quick clean. I'll give the outside a quick clean first. I've given it a quick blast through. It doesn't actually look too bad. There's obviously been a little bit of water at some point sitting in that float bowl, but hopefully it'll be okay. So anyway, I shall put it all back together and see how things go. Right, that's this. There's the spring at the bottom. If you lift this up, you can take the carb off and then you get free access to all of this stuff. But now to put the gasket back on, I'll give the air filter a quick clean off. But the next step will be to connect that into the bracket and then this end onto the carb. Right, so that's the hose clip on there, that's reconnected on that bracket, and then it's obviously on there as well. Next thing is to put the housing for the air filter, and then I'll go in and I'll clean the air filter and then refit it and see if the thing decides to start. That's everything cleaned up. I've cleaned this up and I've lightly oiled it. I've even given this a quick clean. So that clipped into place. So let's get this flipped over. See if there's any signs of any leaks. I don't feel any sign of leak. Have we got any fuel in there still? Yeah, still fuel in there. I'll prime it. Alright, I'm not going to be able to pull it and hold the handle at the same time, so that's it primed. Let's see if it starts. Well, that started no problem at all. Obviously the fuel had to get through properly. So that's my fusty looking Mountfield HP 45 hand propelled lawnmower. Had a quick service. I've not bothered changing the spark plug. I've actually got a spare spark plug, but as it's starting fine, I'm not going to bother fiddling with that. But that's the cure for the leaking fuel pipe. So if you were doing this yourself, it'd probably take you 20 minutes or something. If you're recording it, probably take you about an hour, but yeah, it'll only take 20-30 minutes to do this if you've got a problem. Easy enough to remove the airbox. I just need a 10mm socket, and I don't think there was any other fancy tools. I mean, I did have a pair of needle nose pliers to take the pipe clip things off, but other than that, you can pretty much do it all with your fingers, I guess. And then, as I say, I had the Timu supplied motorcycle fuel pipe. I think it was something like 60p for a metre of it or something, but it's not exactly the correct gauge for this machine, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I'll do a quick test on the lawn, just make sure everything's okay. Any questions, just let me know. Any other suggestions, feel free to say anything in the comments. So, bye for now.